What up, CAUSENETIC family?
Hey, welcome to the CAUSENETIC podcast.
CAUSENETIC means being a personal thing that gives rise to a phenomenon that is dynamic or energized.
Hey, we're tackling topics and telling the truth.
I'm Roderick Ross.
Hey, I'm Keith Benson.
So we are doing another episode of Shine Baby Shine in collaboration with NAA, the National Afterschool Association. And we have, y'all are going to be so impressed. It's going to be so excellent. I'm building up the tension because it's worth it.
Yeah.
We have none other than Jaime Garcia, the president and CEO of the Andy Roddick Foundation. She's the former executive director of Extendicare in Austin, and they merged with the YMCA of Austin, but I'll let her tell all that. Welcome to the CAUSENETIC podcast, Jaime. Yes. And Jaime and I have on very cute white jackets today.
As all of you all
this
can
should have been
see
a
today.
visual. It's very. Where's your white jacket, Keith? It's fine. We will still let you stay.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Hey, so Jaime, so during the thick of the pandemic, you came to this place like you had to make a decision about your organization. Just walk us through a little bit of, as a leader of Extendicare, like how did you get to this decision to merge with the YMCA?
So it was a 4-year conversation.
Wow.
Working with the YMCA of Austin, they came to us and basically said, you know what, we could be stronger together. And for thinking about as a leader in the field, we all know that competition doesn't get us very, very far.
Right.
It's collaboration.
Yes.
And when we had a chance to go ahead and just really start opening our minds to like, what could this look like? Because were we competing for the same kids? No, we're not. We're serving different kids. So how do we bring that together? How do we allow for the resources that the Y has, the history that Extendicare for Kids has in Austin, being the pioneer afterschool program in Austin, bring that together and what can you create? And it was beautiful. I mean, at 4 years of merger conversation that was supposed to, bring on just such fabulous things, January 2020.
Yo.
Yes.
My whole spirit.
And then it happened. So I will say, as an organization, with Extendicare, our employees on average would stay about 15 to 18, 20 years. Our leadership was 30 years, 25, 20, 22. I mean,
that's excellent.
Strong,
Yes. That's excellent. Oh, you love that kind of longevity in a program space. And timing, that doggone panoramic just kind of messed up a whole lot of things. That's what my little niece told me. That's panoramic, auntie. I said, yeah, baby, that's panoramic.
Okay.
Panoramic.
But that time did more for you though, from a personal standpoint.
Yeah.
Back problems for a while, and pandemic comes, and then your back is nice and strong. Running marathons and all that good stuff. I mean, walk, because we're in this job in nonprofit space. We do this job because we care about people. So we will take on this burden of the community, and we'll put it on our backs and shoulders.
Literally.
Right. And we're carrying this right here and not realizing that, the body may be breaking down just a little bit because of all this load that we're carrying. And so tell us about that story. Tell us about that part of your story.
So I think that the reason why we do this work and we do it for so long is because we know the impact.
Yes.
We look at these little babies' faces and we know that we are role models for these kids. And yes, it's important for the parents to have a safe place for their kids to go.
Yeah.
But we just know we're going to walk into the room and they're going to say, Miss Jaime.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. They are so good for your ego. Yes, indeed.
They make you so good.
Yes,
they do. And so I think that what we do also as we become leaders in the field is we're also growing our staff. So we have 18-year-olds that are coming into the world, first work, position for them. And it is on us to go ahead and give them the skills that they need wherever they take themselves afterwards. Right. So we always looked at it as an opportunity. We always called ourselves an EAC university because they were going to learn about not only self-care, but also leadership skills. They were going to learn about behavior, special needs, like all the whole entire spectrum. But when they walked away, They were going to understand the importance of team building and communication and caring for each other as coworkers.
Yeah.
And so we had so many people that come back and say, you really taught us a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in childcare anymore, but you taught us a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think through this, we have this need to always take care of others. And you said it very well, Keith. Like, we take care of others and we continue to push ourselves because we know the work's important and we don't want to see it fall.
Yeah.
And then we want to do more and more and more for our community.
Yeah.
As we want to do more and more for our staff. And it does take a beating on you.
Yeah.
And this pandemic, our city in Austin, we shut down on March the 12th. 10 days later, we were back up and running to serve the emergency essential workers.
Right.
There you go.
Right. When some people were closed for months and months and months.
That whole perspective, first responders, like that shifted right there. Yeah. And then our workforce, a thriving workforce of after school individuals that got propped up even more so. Mm-hmm. And,
they got the recognition that they were due.
Yeah. One of my concerns now is that, hey, this wasn't new. We were doing this.
Right. We were spectacular before panoramic. Right.
Like, we took care of the babies, right? Everybody who went to work, we were the ones there in the after school, during the summertime, and so my fear right now is that light may not get shined on them as much, but we have to be those voices now to make that change. Yeah, right?
People may think it's a trend. It wasn't a trend. Like, this is a staple in our community. These direct service workers in the early childhood education and the after school, out of school time, they have been excellent. It just didn't happen, like Jamie said, on March the 12th. Like, that just didn't happen. So
pandemic didn't start after school.
It absolutely did not start after school. So Jamie, you took this time, you in that merger, you decided that self-care is not selfish. Amen. Kudos to you. And then you embarked on this new journey. So tell us about the Andy Roddick Foundation.
So I am honored to be at the helm of the Andy Roddick Foundation. Yeah. The foundation has been doing incredible work. I keep on using this phrase of dream world, dream board, dream program, because I've been doing this for so long, 26 years. Yeah. I've given to the childcare industry. And I come in and, again, having this honor as the president and CEO of the Andy Roddick Foundation, and I get to know the programs that they're running. And they have such intentional work for the underserved community. Yeah. I'm talking about those 1 to 10, 1 to 8, 1 to 5 ratios. Man. To allow for kids to really take in as much as possible during after school hours and summer days, where we can teach them, give them opportunities for literacy coaches, allow for them to go ahead and go on field trips within the community, have options of different activities that they can do on Fridays to go ahead and embrace dancing, or maybe that is sports. Maybe it is an interest that they have in writing. It is different opportunities that allow for the children to learn at a very small ratio. Yeah. Social emotional learning, as we have now. Yep. Everyone's talking about it, right? Yeah. Oh, it's so important for our kids to be able to be social and also understand their emotions. We've been doing this for so long. Absolutely. We're great at this. Wow. And so
some kids don't have a 1 to 5 ratio in their own house, huh? There's a lot of kids in there.
There's going to be people that's listening to this that don't understand what ratios mean. So talk about 1 to 5 versus state standard. Yeah. If you're licensed after school.
Fair point. So the state will allow for you to have 1 adult, childcare staff member to 26 kids. So you talk about the need for self-care for that one individual after they finished a 4-hour, 5-hour day.
With 26 kids.
Right? Yeah. With 26 kids. Yeah. So the Andy Roddick Foundation is committed to these smaller ratios of 1 to 10. So 1 staff member for every 10 kids, 1 staff member for every 5 kids, to allow for them to be more impact. Those close conversations, have that role model in their life, but also start working with them on literacy, reading. We all know the importance of making sure that, that correlation between 3rd grade reading and high school graduation and college readiness. So we have to go ahead and make sure that we're putting the efforts in while they're young and they're in elementary school.
Oh, that's so excellent, especially for a population because typically, if you go somewhere where they have a 1-to-10 or 1-to-5 ratio, there is a hefty price tag, right? Because that means more staff,
Right.
more staffing costs, and the things associated with that. And so that is a luxury that many marginalized and under-resourced folks can't afford. They can't afford to put their children in programs where the ratios are that low. And I said it in jest, jokingly, but I know a number of families who literally, that is not the ratio in their own house. Right? Like, there are way more kids than adults in the house. And so in those instances, where do those babies go to form those positive and influential adult relationships and get the attention that they need and some one-on-one time to help them develop? So that is amazing. Like, I really do hope people understand how impactful taking that ratio from 1-to-10 and 1-to-5, like, that's a game changer there. That's a game. Before you bring out another crayon, another piece of coloring paper, you just change the ratios, and it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah. Well, speaking of ball game, do you think
gosh.
I was thinking about picking up a little tennis. Do you think Andy could show me?
Please
come down
don't
to
ask
Austin
him to do that. Please. Every 2 to 3 weeks, Keith gets another hobby, and they don't last. This year alone, with fishing, rock carving, boating.
But I'm pretty serious about tennis. Tell Andy. I think so. And so, Andy, for those who don't know, tell everybody about Andy and his background.
Yeah, Andy Roddick is the former #1 tennis player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get to know Andy, you understand, like, this, he is determined.
Yeah.
He's done things that most people only dream of doing. And when he was at a point, I believe he was about 17 years old, he was talking to Andre Agassi and really asking him about, like, what would you do differently? And Andre said, I would have started earlier.
Oh.
And he took that and he opened up a foundation. He was 17, 18 years old, opened up a foundation that his family started running. And it was in Florida, really working on grants for whether that was the healthcare system, always involving children, clinics, sports clinics. I'm really trying to go ahead and give to the community.
Yeah.
When Andy retired in 2012, he went ahead and said, I'm going to take this back home. I'm going to go to Austin, Texas, and I'm going to move the foundation there. Hired his first CEO and was able to go ahead and say, what does this community need? And he thought maybe education, charter school, like starting to go ahead and work in that area. But AISD, we have a fabulous district. The conversation in the community and through the district leaders was that we need more out of school time, opportunities for our children, for our parents that can actually afford something, or that our parents that do not have any extra funds, that has an intentional work that can move the needle on this. And so they listened and they served. 2014 opened up their first summer camp, and they had so much success. They went ahead and grew that. And I will say, this is very impressive. By 2019, they were actually awarded the National Summer Learning Institute Award for Excellence. And there are 75 recipients that have received that award over the last 20 years. And Andy Roddick Foundation did this, and from 2014, their first summer program, to 2019.
In 5 years.
5 years.
Wow. Oh, good job, Andy.
That's powerful.
And
That's powerful.
And the way that Andy sees it is that, he put a racket in his hand when he was young and realized there was potential there for him to do something that he loved.
Yeah.
And he wants to give every single child the ability to go ahead and be at a place where they can thrive and have opportunity to be in their best place, right? Change that future for them. Give them what they need to go ahead and have that success, and not on the streets, not home alone. Not a parent worried about whether they're safe or they're not safe.
Yeah.
Man, that's something powerful.
I love that. Just when you take that perseverance and that most professional athletes have, and then you channel that right into something community facing.
And he did it at a young age. And so my encouragement to program directors who are working in this after school space is that, hey, you have a voice at this early stage of your career to be able to help change things. It's a matter of how you use that voice maybe that's partnering up with another leader in your organization or another leader within your network. But they got to be able, in order to create this thriving workforce, we need to hear from our direct service younger staff in order to make changes, because things are changing. I mean, gone are the days that like you can't use technology within after school. Like you gotta find a way to.
You gotta figure out a way to let you can't just tell the baby to put their phone away or like
like those like. Oh, you can't have any phones. Oh, okay. Well, watch all this trouble you about to have on your
They're going to use it anyway. And I didn't even know you could do that with it.
Right.
I mean, shameless plug here. So we did a podcast on Changemakers talking about the power of youth, right? And for these direct service younger staff to really understand the power that you harness. Like Andy Roddick started this 17, 18 years old. And imagine how many young people who he's generationally changed the trajectory of their families, right? Even if he would have waited 1 year, that would have been some number of kids who didn't have that opportunity. And wait another year, there's another layer. So don't start tomorrow, next week. Start today. You are not too young. There are people who have changed history that were like me. They were young.
That's the awkward silence that we have.
Don't be that guy. They were young like me. Yeah. So absolutely lean into that. Don't let people discount, because you haven't lived long enough, right? Or so-called had certain experiences. There is a power and an energy in youth.
Right.
That can definitely be harnessed. I love it.
And so, your platform that you guys have now, you have sites across the Austin community. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So the Andy Roddick Foundation has like 3 pillars, and one of them is direct service. We have it at 3 locations in Austin. So we have them at Palm Springs, Hart, and Harris Elementary, underserved communities, really trying to make a change right there, full impact, family engagement. And I can even tell you, like after they go through summer camp for a week, we give them kits to take home on the weekend so they can continue to do projects with their family, like just full around service. It's like what I say earlier, dream program.
There you go. There you go.
Right?
There you go.
And so I will say, like, this is this one area with this direct service that we kind of look at as a laboratory to go ahead and create these opportunities to say, what's the best practice to go ahead and see these outcomes? And then we want to share that. We want to keep that, right? So we take that, and we have this other pillar, which is we are an intermediary for out-of-school time programs in the region of Austin. So we have 44 partners, Boys and Girls Clubs, YMCAs, programs that we are giving them professional development and mini grants and all sorts of other support. And so we want to go ahead and share our learnings and allow for them to have the ability to have quality innovation as well. So that's the second part, is really being a hub to have a collective voice for the out-of-school time programs in Austin. And then the third part is this national and advocacy end for our local programs, but also making sure that our state leaders understand the importance of having funds to go ahead and channel down to out-of-school time programs. So for the first time, Texas saw this past fall an actual TEA grant that had earmarked money for out-of-school time programs. And we have to celebrate that. We have to celebrate the fact that we could go after some actual federal funding and utilize that for our programs. And we know that these funds are here for the next 3 years. They will eventually go away, but we can continue to share this voice of the importance and this critical need that we have to have the funding in order to support the work that we're doing.
You set a precedent, right? If we did it once, we could do it again. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, take others with you. And I mean, it sounds like that's exactly what's happening.
Well, come on, let's take this ride. Hey, thank you guys for listening to CAUSENETIC.
On this episode called Shine, Baby Shine, featuring, thank you so much, the incomparable president and CEO of the Andy Roddick Foundation, the Jaime Garcia.
Hey, subscribe and listen to us weekly.
And don't be shy. Give us a 5-star review.
And as always,
dynamic,
be phenomenal,
be
CAUSENETIC.